Okay. All right. I will just do this quickly.
Okay.
Share my entire screen, this screen, and this screen, and then let's share.
Yeah,
All right.
there we
So,
go. Yeah,
Frank, let me
it's
know
coming
when you
up.
can see my
Yeah, we can see it there
screen.
now. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So, good evening. Yeah, okay. So, good evening to everyone. Today, I am very happy again that we are starting a new version of my discussion so far. If you listen to my presentation for the recent times, it has been all around security, securing your user's account, trying to recover compromised accounts, trying to manage your M365 roles based on list privileges. And today we are going to be talking about bad passwords. So Microsoft Cloud is actually robust when it comes to security, and Entra password protection is one of those rich features that we have in Microsoft 365 and Microsoft Entra generally. So a lot of security guidance has actually recommended that we don't use the same password in the same location, different location. So if you are using a password here, it's advisable you don't use it there. So I'll just try to read verbatim so that we can get something very straight from here. So a lot of security guidance recommends that you don't use the same password in multiple places, and to make it complex and to avoid simple password like password 123. So some persons, when you ask them to change their passwords, they tend to write very long character, and even when they do, you still find out that the response is going to say your password is weak, and they come to ask, you are typing fewer words and your password is being accepted. For example, if you do the auto password generation from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, it is going to be lots shorter than some of the passwords that you're going to enter, and it will tell you that it is too simple. This is a password of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 character, and you enter this, is going to bounce it. So if it bounces it, you kind of ask yourself why. Somebody would like to come and say, instead of this, and then use use a password like I'm just trying to, if that is the case, I'm going to do this. I will change the password by putting $sign password. Since it needs me to put special character, this is still going to fail. And as we go on this call, I will show you why they are going to fail. Somebody may decide to come and say, instead of writing password, I am going to maybe change these two letters to capital letters, double S, and instead of writing O, I'm going to write 0. I will tell you why even this is also going to fail. I'm not sure how to zoom this in, but I think I should be able to do that. View, zoom in. Okay, so it's still going to fail even if you try this. So let's move on the documentation. So you can provide your users with guidance on how to choose their password, but weak password or insecure password are often still used by people because password keep changing because of password expiration and all of that. So I want you to know that there is a global banned password list. So this global password banned password list, the Microsoft Entra ID protection team constantly look into this environment and see passwords that have been compromised over time and see how they can include those passwords in a globally banned list. So now every user who uses Microsoft Entra, if you have an account with Microsoft 365, either Azure, M365, or any service that is bringing you to have Entra, then you are going to be enjoying the security that comes from the global ban password list. So if a user is making use of any of the password that is in this list, which is one of example of what we just used, it is going to be failing no matter how you do it. Secondly, if you are going to include your first name or your last name or any part of your display name in your password, of course, it's going to fail because there's an algorithm that is going to check that that password is a weak password, no matter how strong you think it looks. So let's go on. Then custom band password list. So beyond what Microsoft sees or has as the global password list, just to make you know, because of the cyber criminals are actually out there, the global ban password list, Microsoft don't display them on their documents because of security. Okay, so but beyond the global ban password list, you could decide to create some passwords. I mean, create some custom ban words. Let's say you are in a particular industry and you want to say you don't want them to use your brand name as their password, the users. You don't want them to use your brand name of your business as part of their passwords, or company specific internal terms. You don't want them to use them as password. Let's say, for example, your brand name, let's say Pillars Concepts, from what you will see in the tenants we are going to be using. You don't want them to use anything like Pillars, anything like Concepts. Then product name, let's say we are offering M365 and I say I don't want them to use Microsoft as part of their password. I can do all of those from our account to be added to the global ban password list anyway. Then location, I can say my business is in Nigeria. I don't want them to have Nigeria typed into their password in any form, either in capital letter, in small letter, in mixed characters. I don't want them to have that. So we can also see that abbreviations that are specific to the organization. Let's say particular words. We know that PowerPoint is PPT, then M36, Microsoft 365 is M365, all those basic words, abbreviations that we don't want them to use that are common within the firm. I can say, no, I don't want them to use this. Now, I must quickly take you to the licensing requirements. Now, everyone with the free tier Entra ID, you have access to the global BAM password list applying on your environment. But if you want to customize to have those words there, this is the licensing requirements. So if you are a cloud only user and you are using Microsoft Entra password protection with global ban password list, if you are on free tier, so Microsoft Entra ID license are two. You have the free, I mean, there are three. You have the free, you have the P1, you have the P2 license. Now, if you have the P1 or P2 license, then you can customize your own your own password, banned password list. Then you can also look at the Entra ID plan one or plan two to do that. So that's what I'm trying to say. The global banned password list applies to everyone who uses the Entra who has an account with Entra. But if you are if you want to compose or create your unique or custom banned password list, then you must have the Entra ID plan one or plan two. We'll look at how to calculate all those scores. But before then, let's quickly move on to demo in an environment that I have open here. So this is an account where I have Microsoft Entra ID Plan 2. So the Microsoft Entra ID Plan 2 is a part of Microsoft 365 E5 license that I have assigned, or the the E5 license that I have on these tenants. So if you have this license P2, you can buy it as a standalone, or P1 as the case may be. You have option to come down to your protection. Another protection, you come to conditional access. So if you come to conditional access, let's see if that when that loads. Hold on, I think I need to come to authentication, right? Password protection, yeah, that's it. So it's authentication, password protection. So what I want you to look at is, I was already playing with some stuff here, so but I would try to, so if you want to configure some words that you don't want your users to make use of as password in your organization added to the global ban password list. So you are going to put words there. Let's say now that I'm going to have a branch in London, and I want to see, I don't want users in my organization to use the word London as part of their password. London, right? Now, let me tell you something. You can add as much as, let's look at this. So you can add up to 1,000 words as your unique ban password in your organization. But we would see when we are looking at the analysis that it doesn't make sense if I put London there and I come to see let's say I even put the word Lagos, for example, and I come back to say, okay, I don't want somebody to use the word Lagos, and I put LOG, and then instead of putting S, I put dollar sign. So it will tell you that while resolving this, it resolves this Lagos as this Lagos, because the S here, the dollar sign, is going to be resolved as S. We'll look at this later. So that what this means is do not waste your words. Just put few things there and it's fine. So I'm going to add all of this. So if you don't, let me just copy. So at any point you want to turn, it was going to be like this, right? Without anything inside of it. So if I save this, it was going to be, okay, I needed to put it in no. So when I save, it was going to be like this when I came by default. So if I'm turning it to yes, then I'm typing the words here, and it is required that you type the word one line after the other, and you can add as much as 1,000 words that you don't want your user to make use of as their password. So we want to pick London as one of those words, right, that we are going to be using. We are going to do save. So now that we have saved here, it means that any user trying to change his password and trying to enter the word London in any form or part of the word, it is going to fail. So let's just say we come to our Entra admin center, the M365 admin center, and we come to users, active users. So the good thing about this is, from my experiments, it takes effect immediately. So if I come now and then I just go to I know I've signed in as this guy, but let me use the guy that is let me use David or Daniel Mango. So Daniel is a user here in my organization, and then I'm going to change Daniel's password. And then what I will do, so I'll click on reset password, and then I will say I should generate the password for me automatically, and then require the user to change his password when next signing in. So I'm just going to hit on this, and then let's see what happens next. So the password, you can see how short this password is. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 character with much of numbers and few letters, just 3 letters, and then the others are words. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to copy Daniel's password, email address, and I'm going to come here. I'm going to do new, and then I want to sign in as Daniel here now that his password has been changed. So office.com, and then I would expect that Dan should have a placeholder where he needs to put in his password. So just look at the prompts that are going to be coming up when it's trying to use Lagos as part of his password, London, or and so on as part of his password. So I'm just going to now. So I'm going to put Daniel's email address. That is it. Then next. Then I'm going to put Daniel's password. password. So it's going to enter the old password, which is the current password, this one. Let's Daniel now come and let's try out some stuffs here. Let's try out London. Okay, now I want to put this side by side so that you can see the current password that Entra generated for him. And because of that, let's put Lagos. Let's put at 32 hash or something, or let's just put 123, and then let's put London at Lagos 1. Let's put partners at London 2 3. So these words are long enough to form passwords, right? Now let me just put this one to this other side and then copy Lagos at 123, copy London, and then copy partners at London 23. Let's see what experience we are going to be having. Now I want to put the first one I have here. I have some stuff copied. Okay, I'm putting the first one, which is a bit longer, the London at partners at London 23, and then I'm going to repeat it here also. Partners at London 23. If you look at it from the number of dots, you would find out that this is far longer than this one, meaning that this is almost half. If you look at this, is almost half of what I have here. However, let's click on sign in and let's see if Daniel is going to be able to sign in. So it's trying to tell me to authenticate. I'm not sure I've signed in as Daniel before, but let's see. So I think that's going to prompt me for authentication. Let me just quickly do this. I was not expecting this to come, but I'm set for it. I'll just quickly scan my screen and then let's see what happens. Scanning. Okay. Okay, so let me do next and let's see what happens. 39. Okay, it's just looping. Let me see. But authentication, that means, does it mean it's authenticated with that? So if it does, then it will take us to the next topic, but I'm going to try the other ones as well. But let's see what happens. Okay, that did. We're going to look at how this was resolved, but I'm going to again now come here. That does not stop us from where we are going to. Let me just quickly put office.com here. And then let's attempt to change the password to another thing within that band password list. the gear icon here as a user, and then I want to attempt to change the password to the second we have on the list, Lagos at 123. Come on, come on. I'm expecting a certain icon here so that I can use that. Yeah, this is it coming ready. So right here, I will see change, sorry, not that, change password, which is this one. So the page is still loading a bit. So I'm bringing London. Okay, I think I see why this passed. When we start evaluating it, we will see what the score is. We can calculate it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I see why it passed. So when we are doing calculation, I want to keep this and we are going to use it to evaluate what we are saying. So the new password for this guy is going to use Lagos and pasting Lagos here as is. So I'm pasting Lagos at 1, 2, 3 there. Excuse me, let me see. Lagos at 1, 2, 3 is going to give me what? Let me just quickly see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Lagos at 1, 2, 3 is going to pass as well, which I will explain when we are doing the calculation score. But let's put this 1, 2 at 1, 2 is going to give me 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So let me open it so you can see it. So I'm putting Lagos at 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is supposed to pass, but because this is equal to 4, it will not pass. I will explain to you why it is 4. Include words used for enter, hold on, ineligible word used, so enter a different word. Ineligible word used, enter a different word. That's what it is saying here. So if I add, let's try Lagos at London 1, 2, 3. I'm using two of those words here, London at Lagos 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to count London as 1. I'll count this as 2. I'll show you why I'm counting that as 2. This is 3 and this is 4. I'll show you why I'm counting it as 4. But let's just also paste this here. And then that will take me to explaining the scores. So let's see what happened. The same thing is happening. Enter a password that is harder for people to guess. And if you look at this, it's supposed to be something that is complex, right? So before I even go on, I need to minimize this and then um, take this out and reset this person's password. And I want to look at this and then put password for him as this. So I'm the one typing this in. 1, 2, 3, that is okay. They require user to change password when next signing. So the reason I'm doing this is now that I've set up the MFA. So I want to sign in again as this user, but this time let me sign in to guest accounts here. I mean the guest browser and just do office.com so that you can see how it's going. We've seen this word many times, needs to be changed or something, but what we are going to see now is going to be a different one from what we have seen already. So I just want it to be fast because I know my time is 6 minutes past already. So sorry. Come on. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly put in his password here. I mean his email address here. I want to put his current password. Now I want to put the current password. Okay, so I want to enter the new passwords. So this time, as you have experienced, we have experienced together, this one was the one generated from Entra. And then if I put 3 here, it's going to pass. But if I remove that 3, it is not going to pass. So if I remove this art, if I remove this art and I put the 3 there, it is still not going to pass. But let's say that I look at this. This is 1. The whole London is 1. This is 2. This is 3. And this is 4. I'll explain this maybe in the next week's demo. But I want to use the first one. And then let's see what it's going to tell us. I'm going to use the first one there, which is this. And then I'll paste it again. And then let me do sign in and see what it's going to say. Unfortunately, your password contains a word, phrase, or pattern that is banned by your organization. Please try with a different password. This information was very, very straight to the point, like telling you that this word you are trying to use, hey, don't use it. Lagos is actually in the list of the banned password by your organization. Now, I want to try that. Like I told you, if I add 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to pass, but I want to remove 2. And I'm going to put, so not because 2 is a special character. If I remove 1 and I put 2, or if I remove 2 and I put 3, it's still not going to pass based on the calculation of the secure score. So I want to copy this and I want to put this. I will expect it to fail because from the calculation is 1, 2, 3, 4. So and for you to pass, you must have at least 5. So I want to put this and I will expect it to also fail. The reason is because it is currently contained in the banned password list that I've set up. Now you see another different information that you see here is we have seen that password too many times before. Choose something harder to get. Now I will just be wrapping up this. By next week, we are going to be facing the reason why you see this thing happening. Not because your words are not long enough, but because they need to follow particular pattern when you are putting your passwords, and so that you can from there know how and what you are going to have. So I just want to quickly look at this document and see where it is demonstrating the different messages that you are going to be getting when entering banned password. If I'm able to see it on time, I will show you. But if I'm not, I would bring it up on the next engagement that we are going to have. Yes, this is it. What do users see? Unfortunately, your password contains a word, phrase, or a pattern that matches or makes your password easily guessable. Please try again with a different password. I think we saw something similar to this. We saw this exactly. We've seen that password too many times before. Choose something harder to guess. We've also seen this on this call. Then choose a password that is harder for people to guess. Similar thing. So now, how is the calculation done? That is a talk for another day. We are going to be wrapping it up by looking into these calculations in our next meeting. So thank you very much, Frank, and I'm so sorry for taking longer than I was given. I hope to continue next time. Thank you.
No worries, Joseph. Great demo. When I was setting up that tenant you sent me on, I came across those situations as well. They saw those passwords so many times before, so I had to make up something unique and I had to write
Yeah,
it
so it's
down.
because I've set up protection.
Yeah, very good. So, Dan, you have something for us today with Excel
Yes,
and Copilot.
I do. Let me share my
And I think
screen here.
Roxanne was looking to see some stuff with Copilot on M365. So if you're tuned in, Roxanne, we've got
Yeah,
some.
let me make sure. I need to restart Chrome to share my screen real quick.
Sure.
I will be right back.
No worries. And just after Dan, then I'll show you some other stuff there with Copilot as well, maybe with PowerPoint and Word. I think, Joseph, you're going to be doing some stuff on that as well going forward with Outlook using Copilot.
Yes, yes, actually.
Yeah,
hmm We had
very
a
good.
session on that today, and it was very great. I have a lot to share also about
There
that.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We'll do probably a whole week on it, or maybe the whole month on it there in September or something like that. Yep, I can see your
Excellent.
screen there now, Dan. Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So Frank asked me to show some things with Microsoft Copilot for Microsoft 365, specifically Excel. And I have worked on a number of Excel files where I've tried to come up with an analogy to using a bingo card. And the way I've done this in the past is by coming up with 24 or 23 phrases that would be used by a bingo card and randomize all of those images. So here you can see, if I make this bigger, that I've got an image from Microsoft Designer. And I have 24 of these already saved. And so I'm going to make this a little smaller so that you can see all the different fields. I'm going to go to Insert and Pictures, Place in Cell from a File. And I'm going to choose D2. You can see the little previews of all these different Microsoft Designer features and functions. And I'm going to grab up to D24 here. And what this should do is figure out that there's multiple cells. So it puts one of the pictures in each of my cells. And then in the B column, what I want to do so that the bingo card is randomized is I want to take the pictures from column A and I want to randomize them in column B. However, I don't know how to do that. Let's say that I haven't used Excel enough, or I just don't know how to write that formula. So what I can do is use Microsoft's Copilot in Excel. So I have a license. I've got Copilot in the upper right. It's going to tell me that I have to save this file online. So we're going to call this Azure and AI Show -Excel and save that up to the cloud. And then the other thing I have to do to use Microsoft's Copilot, in this case in the Excel product, is I have to define column A as a table, or I'm going to get a message that it doesn't know what range I'm trying to do something with. So what we're going to do here, as we wait for the file to save, is we're going to highlight all of the A column. And we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to define this as a table. So now I have a table in column 1, or A, and I'm going to define a random field here in column B. So if we go to column B and Copilot, and we tell it, ask a question or tell me something that you'd like to do with column A1 through A25, I'm going to say, write a formula to randomize column A in column B. And so I don't need to know what the formula is. I'll be able to look at the formula once it's written. It's going to analyze all the photos in columns A1 through A25, which have been defined as a table in Microsoft Excel. And then I'm going to have a capability of reviewing this information, mention specific columns and tables you want me to use, state the specific calculations you want me to do. Can you randomize the photos in column A into column B. I did this with words and it worked perfectly fine. It might be getting confused because there's no words in column 1. There's actually just photos at this point. So we'll see if it can do that. Looks like it gave me a function here, and it's suggesting that I can generate random numbers and work with that. Let's see if I have my other file open still that I wrote this in. I do. So we wrote this with just letters. So same demo here, but just not using images, using, in this case, letters. And so I told it, you know, hey, can you take all the information in column A and put it into column B? And it said, do you want to insert this column? If I insert the column again here, let's see if we can do this. Here, it just takes the letters in column A and it randomizes them in column B for me. So I'd have to figure out either how to do this with the images, or in this case, it's just inserted in column C, the randomness of whatever's in column 1. What I did here in testing was I highlighted all of the column 1 and I inserted the photos. Same thing we did at the beginning in my other spreadsheet. In this case, I think I need 24 or 25. Let's do 25 images. And then what you can see is that column C, labeled as column 22 or 22, just randomized the photos that are in column 1. So theoretically, I could just take these that are random now. And the first time it's not a big deal because it should randomize the information anyways. And then what I can do in a second sheet is I can come up with a designer bingo card. So I'm going to make a card that is square. And I'm going to tell the bingo card to use the different references from, let's see if this is going to work. I need to tell it to use B2, not B1, or C2, B1. So I probably need to tell that relative, this would be B3. There we go. So I'd either have to tell it that don't change these references, keep B solid and 3 solid, or I'd have to just go through and reference where I'm pulling these from on sheet 1 to sheet 2. And then what I can do once I've placed all of these different images into my bingo card is I could use the random function to create or generate different bingo cards. One bingo card is pretty easy. The issue with creating multiple bingo cards is you can't have 2 bingo cards that are the same, or the same people would win bingo potentially. So by the pictures being in different places, one of the pictures shows that you can use the font feature within Microsoft Designer. Another one shows that Microsoft Designer is available on iOS, and another picture shows it available on Android. So theoretically, I could do this one of 2 ways, or I could do it both ways. I could put the pictures into my bingo card, or I could write descriptive text to describe what the photos are showing. So the photos show different Microsoft Designer features, like the fact that you can now create little greeting cards, or you can use the share function to share your avatar as almost like a Mad Lib with replaceable information. Or you can use backgrounds and create backgrounds, custom backgrounds with Designer. So I came up with 24 different visuals from the Designer app, use them as photos. If I randomize these within one spreadsheet, or even if I figured out how to randomize them on the same sheet, I could then just create multiple bingo cards with either the graphics, the text, or potentially both. And then the graphic bingo cards could be saved as graphic files, and I could upload those to either YouTube or Twitter or anywhere else. And I was seeing what the Microsoft Designer account did on Twitter. I think this was last week, if I'm not mistaken. And they ended up, if I can bring up that, let's see if I can bring up that tweet they sent. Here it is. This was the Microsoft Designer bingo card they came up with. And so I was trying to think, well, you know, I can take their idea and I can just say use Designer on Android. And I'm assuming they have a square that says use a Designer on iOS, but I don't see it offhand because it's available in both. Here it is, use Designer on iOS. And theoretically, for most of us, we're going to use it on one or the other mobile platform because we've chosen a mobile platform. I am what I like to consider bilingual, in that I speak both iOS and Android and the Mac OS and Windows. So I guess I know 4 different operating systems pretty well. So I could check off both of those, right? I could say I'm using iOS and Android. But because they're not next to each other in a row or column or diagonal across my bingo card, those 2 features aren't going to help me get a bingo. And if somebody else like Frank or Joseph or Stephen or Timidayo, somebody else from our community, Paul, Teresa, Sina, are playing along with me, if they're using the exact same card and we all say, hey, we've used Designer in PowerPoint and we've created a sticker, and monogram your initials is a fairly new function in Designer, so we all go do that. If we all use the same card, this one card, theoretically, as we go do things, we may end up getting bingo at the same time. The other thing in this particular example is all of the bingo squares, for the most part, with the exception of maybe Android and iOS, are things that you're doing in the Designer app. So theoretically, to win bingo the quickest, instead of randomly having somebody call out, you know, personalize your brand kit, and you get to not only do that, but then mark it on your bingo card, we could go ahead and figure out how to do those 2 things together. So this is a little bit about what I have experienced with Microsoft 365 and specifically Copilot in Excel. I started with an idea of randomizing a sheet. I still need to figure out how to tell Excel Copilot specifically what I'm trying to do with the visuals. It looks like it's taking add a column, use the column to set up numbers, and then randomize the numbers, and then reference the numbers for the photos. But it looks like the other way to do this would be just to use letters or information, randomize the information, and then go ahead and just replace the randomized information with the photos. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how to create your own bingo cards for whatever Microsoft product you would like to do. I've done these for Surface. I've done these for Word, Excel, PowerPoint presentations, Microsoft Teams, and a few other Microsoft applications. And Frank, that brings me to the end of my demo here.
Very good. And that was a great presentation on the Excel. I hope Roxanne could see how you were interacting with the Copilot there. So I'll just share my screen there. If anybody have any words on that there for Dan. Okay, so I'm inside in the Microsoft M365 and we'll just open up Word. Can you see my screen there, guys?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just going to open up a blank document. And I'm logged into the right account anyway. So, because up on the right hand side here, we see Copilot and we see it on the page here. And if I click on the Copilot here on the page, it gives us this box, Draft with Copilot. So it's kind of telling us, describe what you like to write, including notes and outline. The Copilot can generate and draft and help you get started. So because Joseph was talking about Microsoft Entra and passwords, we'll just put something in here. And Microsoft Entra passwords. So we'll just get it to generate something about it and we'll see what it comes up with. Okay. So as you can see there, the Copilot is dragging in stuff for us on what is important, how to manage your passwords, how to reset your passwords. Okay, so it's kind of giving us a good bit like what is Entra, and it's telling us a cloud-based platform. So yeah, looking at it, we kind of know that it is what it kind of came up with. So just down to the end of it here, it's giving us the option here in blue. Do we want to keep it? The next one here, if you hover over it, do we want to regenerate it? Or do you want to discard it? So we'll just keep it for now. And up here on the right hand side, I'm just going to click on the Copilot. It's going to open up here on the right hand pane. So it's giving us kind of stuff like understand, summarize the document into 3 points. Okay, so you can see it's kind of broke up into a few different things. So we'll just click on the summarize this document and we'll see what we'll get. So if you have lots of stuff here over here on the left written, so you can see it's just after coming up with a paragraph for us there instead of summarize the whole thing. And we can actually copy this if you want, and we can just bring it over here and paste it in. Okay, so like we've got stuff here now, so we can just actually click on this and we can click on the Copilot again and we can visualize it in a table. We can auto rewrite it, or we can write a prompt. So we'll just hit on auto rewrite and see what it will give us. So you can see kind of change the word there. So the first line up here is Microsoft Entra is a cloud-based platform offering security, compliance, and productivity tools for business. That's only just the start of it. So the next one then it says Microsoft Entra is a cloud-driven solution providing security, compliance. So we rewrite the whole thing. So it's giving us an option here if we want to intersect it below or replace it or wherever. So that's just a flavor of what the Word and Microsoft Entra. So we'll just pop over just to PowerPoint and see what. So I'm just going to open up a blank PowerPoint, and I'm just, because you open up a blank one, you don't have anything in here. So you have to click on the Copilot up in the top right hand side. And it doesn't give us much at the start until we start creating our PowerPoint presentation. So it's asking me anything about a presentation. So we don't have one. So it gives us this box up here, create presentation about, and it pops it in down here then to this part here. So I'm just going to paste in our prompt, Microsoft Entra passwords, and I'm just going to hit this button down here, the send button, and we'll see what Copilot can generate about. We saw what it brought up inside in Word, so we'll see what it'll actually generate in PowerPoint. So normally, depending on how complex your presentation prompt is, depends on how many slides that you get back. Okay, so it took less than a minute and it gave us 9 slides, and it's got pictures. And if you can see down the bottom, I'll just bring it up a bit. It's given us speakers notes. So in this presentation, we will focus on Microsoft Entra passwords and learn how to create strong passwords and keep them secure. So we just go down through it. So it's an overview of Microsoft Entra, importance of passwords, password strength, two-factor authentication. And we saw all this in Joseph's demonstration earlier. So like Joseph was telling us as well, it's creating strong passwords, the length of them, complexity, using words and numbers or letters, managing your passwords, password security, strong passwords, multi-factor authentication, or two-factor, public Wi-Fi networks. It's just telling you to avoid public networks when you're accessing sensitive data and whatever. So creating a strong password, I'm not going to read everything that is given us, but you can just see from the kind of what it can generate for you in less than a minute. So there's about 9 slides there. If you were to configure all these and get the data to put into them, it would take you a good bit of time. Even the speaker's notes at the bottom, like see this one, the conclusion here, right? It says, in this presentation, we have learned about the importance of passwords and how to keep them secure using Microsoft Entra. By creating strong passwords and following simple security protocols, we can protect our online accounts and safeguard our sensitive information. So that's 9 slides there in the space of less than a minute, and everything seems to be what it actually says. So like if you just go back to another one here to give you another thing that is in Microsoft or M365, you've got right next to the Copilot here, you've got Microsoft Designer, which is another AI tool. So if we click on that, it'll populate more slides on the right hand side. So if you didn't want it to look like big slide here and you wanted more text or a smaller one, you could click on this one here and you can see instantly change. Could try this one. There's another one. So as you can see, like M365 with Copilot is pretty good. I think the PowerPoint is probably my favorite one anyway. So that is
It's cool.
my piece on Copilot with Word and PowerPoint. So it's getting better, and they're working on it all the time. When you come along someday, you say, "Oh, this is another cool feature." Yeah. So I hope Roxanne was watching, and hope she's going to start using the Copilot soon.
Yeah, I know she's back from Switzerland, so.
Okay, the school will be back shortly in America then, are they?
Yeah. I think she said school started this past week. I spoke to her on Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hope she might join us someday there, and she could ask us questions.
Yeah.
Myself and Joseph plan to do a bit more on the Copilot with M365 going forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So Joseph, you're going to carry on with some of the Entra stuff again next week, is it, with the password?
Yeah.
We have to now do the calculation since we could not do it on this call.
Okay, so yeah.
So we have to do that calculation by next week. Yeah. So when we are done with all of these, I think we can come to Copilot. There are a lot that I'm learning also, so we can be sharing with the community.
Yeah. And if people want to see particular stuff in it, they can kind of reach out to us on LinkedIn, or they can, on the show here, they can send us in messages. We could demo them live if we can.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So we're just coming up live on the hour there now, and tonight we broadcasted out to 6 different platforms. We broadcasted to 3 LinkedIn live profiles, and we broadcasted out to 3 YouTube channels live. So yeah, our StreamYard is flying in it. So listen, everybody, and we'll be back here at the same time next week. And thanks again, Dan, for joining us doing the Excel with Copilot. Thank you, Joseph, for your demo. And see you all back here again next week, same time.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.